Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 3 and episode number 214, I think, of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. And if you're feeling that there's a little extra spice in that today, you would not be wrong. You would not be wrong because your Queen Beaver comes bearing gifts today. Kitties and cubbies and hate watchers and everyone. It's like, you know, that thing that Trump used to do was like Merry Christmas, even like to the haters and all that kind of stuff, or except for the haters. Like this. No. This is a prezi for you too.
Yes.
Because when sunlight does what it does, everybody benefits. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And again, we did not coordinate.
Nope. No, we didn't. It just worked out that way. Back in black. I hit the
Back in
sack.
black. Back in black, baby. All right. Today, did I say the recording day?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think let's do it
It's
again.
Friyay.
Today's
It's
recording
Friyay.
day is Friday, September 22nd, 2023. And oh my God, if I'm looking out the window, it looks like the beginning of a horror movie.
Oh,
It's all
that's not
gray
good.
and foggy, and it's like something's gonna come out of the mist. And so yeah, I'm not quite sure what kind of day it's gonna be at the Beaver Lodge yet. So hey, life's like a box of chocolates, right? Anyway,
It's
I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, he, Mr. Beaver A, and with me as always is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. And we have a Friday morning bite for you, and we've got lots of content, so much content. Hopefully we'll be able to get through it all. Oh, it looks lovely where you are. Oh, yes, that's a beautiful
pretty
sunrise
nice
morning, Mr. Grizzly. Yeah. Oh, lovely.
yeah, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day for neighbors.
and for maybe some civic improvements. Yeah, I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. Thank you to our sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. As you can see, I've grown a bit. I've added a few pillows. I'm hoping that I'm reaching the mic now that I'm not too tall.
Are you sitting on a
So-
phone book?
A few of them, actually. Actually, I should have started just like, good morning, kids and cubs. I'm your eager beaver, and my feet are not touching the ground.
They're pedangling. That's what they call it.
They're
Pedangling.
dangling.
They're pedangling.
I literally feel like a kid, just sitting there going, ah. Feet dangling. Oh my God. The things I do for show business. All right, Mr. Grizzly, may I ask you, how are you today? How's your mental health? Good morning to you. It is good morning, isn't it?
Well, see, here's the thing. I'm quite cheerful this morning. Very cheerful. I barely got any sleep, and I'm not even fully awake yet. I'm just starting a cup of coffee. But I'm cheerful because, and we're not going to discuss my mental health because it's a gray, murky area.
Ugh.
But that sunshine outside lifts my spirits, and the fact that Doug Ford.
Say it.
Well, hang on a second. Just give me 2 seconds here.
Okay.
Here's what I've got to do. You're gonna appreciate this. Give me 1 second. Let me just go. I'll be right back.
All right. While Mr. Grizzly goes and does whatever he has to do, let's say, damn. Oh, damn.
Well, hello, Doug Ford. Do you know what happens when you fuck with the people of Ontario?
We have a special guest today.
We don't sit back and take it. We get pissed. We get in your face and we let you know you've done shit. And guess what? Oh boy, you've done shit. And guess what? You're going down. Dougie bent over and took it in the hoop, and it's just beginning. It's just beginning because you know what? That particular company that borrowed $100 million at, what was the interest rate again?
21? Something like that?
21. Yeah.
21%.
Now they have to give that up. They have to give that land up. And here's the best part. Somebody suggested, oh, well, that means the province of Ontario will have to buy it back. No, we fucking don't. It's like this. It's called land speculation. You gamble, you buy a piece of land, you hope it goes up in value. Suddenly it's valueless. You lost. You gamble, you lose. FAFO. You are not getting your money back. And if you do, it's not coming from me or you or anybody viewing or listening to this in the province of Ontario. We are not going to fucking pay for that. No goddamn way. Nope. You gambled, you lost, your problem, not mine. That's how it goes. If I buy a piece of land and I lose out on it, that's my problem, not the public's. We are not going to privatize the profits and socialize the losses. It's not happening. It's not going to happen.
We won't pay for that. No.
Nope.
No can do.
No.
Now, of course, if dumbass Dougie Donuts likes his kneecaps,
Yep.
I assume
Oh, yeah.
he's going to work very, 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 very hard to find a way to pass the bill off over to us.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
The
We're not letting it happen. No goddamn way.
The only thing, take it out of the Ford girls' purse budget, says Kit Jen. Kit Cassie, those of us in Manitoba are on the sidelines watching the Ford fall out eating chips.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All chips, all cake, all popcorn is calorie free and guilt free today. Kitty's Queen Beaver declares. Have at it.
We are not paying for this. No, we're not paying for it. No goddamn
way.
Put
the M&Ms in the popcorn. Get your salty and sweet and fat and all in one. Just do it. Oh my God. Wow.
Well, you got to wonder what was the thing that finally made him cave?
Yeah.
Is it the RCMP?
I don't know, but once you start talking Vegas and massage parlors,
Yeah. The grease. The
the
grease.
literal grease. Massage,
Yes.
like
Oh,
we
yeah.
literally, Premier Porky Pig literally has greased pigs in the pen
Yeah. Yeah.
who go to Vegas to get
Yeah.
greased.
Yeah. No, this
We
look,
had
we
a
were
show
pissed.
titled
We
Grease.
said,
We had a show titled Grease is the Word a while ago. Boy,
yes,
wow. I mean, we knew, but we didn't know.
there's no damn way we are paying for this. Nope.
Now he's going
Nope.
to try. This is why we
He's going to try.
now have to watch him like a hawk. There's only one thing that might make it so that we don't have to pay.
What's that?
Well, I assume that if the developers bring this to court, in the court filing documents, they will state how much they think they've lost.
Mhm.
So we'll get a feeling of what they think the value of the land was to them. That will certainly be front page news for a few days.
Mhm.
And, well, if the developers take him to court, then there's this little thing called discovery. And maybe
Yeah.
some of the developers will decide that it's worth their while to take the hit.
Yes,
Maybe.
because discovery will be, oh, we're going way into the weeds on this one.
It's like,
So far into the
oh,
weeds. It's like, oh, wait a minute. So this is what happened in Vegas. This is what happened at the Stag and Doe. This is what happened here. Gentlemen, we can air all your dirty laundry. All of it. And boy, oh boy, you're not going to get a bank to touch you. No public person will purchase your wares because once we discover, and many of us already know, but once the public in general discovers what's going on, what's happened, what took place, oh, you're finished. You're finished. This is the end of the Ford government, because what happens after this? Okay, so we got our green belt back, right? None of that development's going to take place. We're going to kill the highway, and then we're taking back Ontario Place.
Yep.
We're taking back
All
Ontario
the
Place
things.
because, well, Therm. We all know Therm. That deal is just as crooked as the Greenbelt deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's as crooked.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking it all back because it's ours. And he tried to sell it off to private investors. Well, fuck you, Doug. It's not happening.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm fired up. Can you tell? Can you tell I'm fired up?
I can tell. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on in what it is that you're going to see,
Mhm.
because it's. I was gobsmacked as I'm listening to it.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
now my background is communications and PR and whatnot. So as soon as something happens, like, and I hear something, my ears go, "Whoop, oh, whoa, whoa." And it's-
Yeah. The radar goes up, right? The antennas are.
This looks like, and part of the reason is the journalists.
Mhm.
I have to
Mhm.
say, the journalists in the question period were not aggressive.
Mhm.
They were way too deferential. It's like he's coming to do a
By
mea
far.
culpa, so let's be different. They asked some tough questions, I guess, but a lot of the questions, there wasn't even an attempt at answering them, I guess, and they just moved
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Like this. And even at one point, one journalist asked one question about something else, which admittedly was a juicy question. But we are talking about potentially the most financially, criminally corrupt government in the history of all of Canada. Can we please stay on topic?
Oh, yeah. It's not even a challenge.
This is
when it comes to that to
the
me.
story of the year.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start playing. Let's his mea culpa is about 4 minutes and 50, and then the rest of it's questions.
It
Let's
starts
just
at
put
the 4 minute and 50 second, or
no,
right
no,
from
no,
the
no,
get,
no, no. What?
right from the get.
Yeah, right from the get go, I believe.
Okay.
Now the thing is, how would I put it? I have a lot to say as he goes along, but since I'm not controlling the stop and start, this might be a little trickier. But there is so much. You know what? I think I'm just going to play the first minute and a half or so, and
Mhm.
just let it play, and then we're gonna go back over it. We're gonna see how much BS he packed in at about minute 47 and made it all
Okay.
sound normal. Okay.
This statement here from PNC Bio, I'm like, oh, I think you're onto something there, sir. I assume the developers asked Doug to pull the plug due to RCMP exposure. Caving seems out of character for Doug. I think you're onto something there.
Caving does,
Well, not
but
the caving
not
part, but
the
the RCMP
yeah,
exposure.
because he's been the thing about this one that makes this different, other than the ultimate corruption,
Mhm.
is that when Doug
Mhm.
Ford makes a big mistake, when he really steps in it, I guess he does Cirque du Soleil worthy tumbling
Mhm.
passes
Oh,
super
yes.
quick. He dug in here,
Yeah.
right? I always tell people when it comes to PR, when it comes to message, when you're looking for consistency, coherence, and constancy over time, the number one indicator that something is up is new behavior.
Mhm.
Sudden new behavior out of the blue. Doug Ford did not cave on this one. It took 2 ministers, a chief of staff, an emerging rub and tub scandal, how many of his friends being exposed,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
several
yeah.
weeks and months of hits
Yeah.
before like this. And by opening up the green belt again, he made what was once a couple of months story back then a 5-year story now.
Oh, yeah.
And this apology, kiddies, even if there's no investigation, why not? It is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Because if there is nothing to investigate, or if they're pulling, like as Kit and PNC Bio developers asked Doug to pull the plug due to RCMP exposure, all the stuff that happened before the plug was pulled
Mhm.
still happened.
Yes. So we got to keep the pressure on them.
So
Like we
that
don't, we
stuff
don't, we
still
don't.
needs to be investigated, right? Remember, just because if you rob the bank and actually get the money, but only get 2 kilometers away from the bank before you're stopped and the money taken, it's like you still robbed the bank.
Yeah, we're not packing up. We're not packing up the tent and going home. We have
Right?
more stuff to push them on.
You don't get credit for, oh, okay, you got me. Here's the money. Okay. Let's just be very clear on that. All right, Mr. Grizzly, please roll tape.
Just give me a sec. Thank you. There's some major computer issue that I'm having, but we'll have a look at this.
That's okay. I'm dancing for the kids in the meantime.
This is gonna be good. You're gonna enjoy this. All right, you ready? You ready? Here we.
Finished 2 days of meetings with caucus and we talked a lot about the challenges Ontario faces and the solutions our government's offering. Strong economic management, historic investments in infrastructure, getting people into the skilled trades, and building more homes. We also talked a lot about what we've been hearing from the people about our decision to open the Greenbelt. Our caucus, they shared with me what they've heard in their communities. I want the people of Ontario to know I'm listening. I made a promise to you that I wouldn't touch the Greenbelt. I broke that promise. And for that, I am very, very sorry. I pride myself on keeping our promises. It was a mistake to open the Greenbelt. It was a mistake to establish a process that moved too fast. This process, it left too much room for some people to benefit over others. It caused people to question our motives. As a first step to earn back your trust, I'll be reversing the changes we made and won't make any changes to the Greenbelt in the future. Because Even if you do something for the right reasons, with the best of intentions, it can still be wrong. Being clear, I believe that opening the Greenbelt could make a big difference. That it would build 50,000 new homes, housing a minimum of 150,000 people. But we moved too quickly and we made the wrong decision. The truth remains, Ontario's growing at an unprecedented speed.
All right, let's stop it there.
And doing more of the same, except
Okay.
Wow,
Now-
we're doing the right thing in building houses, and the land is already set aside and ready to be developed. So the
Okay.
Greenbelt, we all know that's bullshit.
Okay. But let's not go to those. Those are the things we know. Let's talk about the new stuff.
Yes. Okay, please.
The people who are at home watching this, let's say they're not very familiar. This
Mhm.
sounds so incredibly reasonable, right? This is on brand for Doug.
Oh yeah.
I guess Doug's brand is, remember when all our parents and grandparents died during COVID, and it was sort of like,
Mhm.
oh, well, it's COVID. Nobody saw it coming. What can you do? We didn't know what it was. And there's a part of that that's true. But, he's doing his best and his heart's in the right place, right? That's Doug's
There are
brand.
people that will swallow this.
But that's
Yeah.
Doug's brand. That's why he keeps on
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
a
yeah.
free pass, right? That's why all of us were
Mhm.
convinced that we knew that he was dumbass Dougie Donuts 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, seeing him
Mhm.
doing what he does in Toronto.
Oh yeah.
Some people are starting to see it, but those who are not dialed in, not paying attention, this sounds so reasonable. It's like
Mhm.
my caucus came together to discuss the challenges our party is facing. Yeah, the main one being you.
Yep.
You're the challenge, buddy.
I honestly can't believe that every single member of that party is a corrupt piece of garbage. I honestly cannot believe that is the case.
No.
I believe that there's a lot of honest, decent, hardworking MPPs in that party. And I'm sure many of them were sitting there over the last several months going like, oh my God, what the...
Right.
Wringing their hands and beating their head against the wall going like, what the...
Caucus has the power,
But-
remember? Caucus can
Yes.
throw him overboard. That's why I keep on saying, if you're watching the show and you live in Ontario and you live especially in an Ontario PC riding, ask for that meeting.
Mhm. Mhm.
Go to the office, protest, picket at the office, go see there. I want to talk to this guy. I want to talk to you because it's performance review time. And you will lose my vote if you do not do. And what you need to do is throw that dumbass overboard. Throw
Oh, yeah.
Ford overboard.
I like that.
Ah.
That should be the Liberal Party, and so that the next, because the Liberal Party is leaderless right now
Yes.
in the province of Ontario.
Yes.
I'm talking about that should be their next their campaign slogan: "Throw Ford overboard."
Yep. Now I keep on saying that Ford is just like Trump, and he had the unfortunate caucus.
Caucus.
Remember, Ford had one of those moments. I mean, Trump goes, and then I am very sorry. I bet you are. That as sorry as you're about to be when you get to the bottom of all this.
Well,
And
what?
sorry
What?
you got caught. Because you're not
What-
sorry you
what
did
Doug-
it because you said you wouldn't, and then
You did it.
you promised the green belt that you wouldn't touch her, Doug. And then a few years later, you put your hands all over her and started feeling her up without her consent, Doug.
You raise a really salient point when it comes to caucus has the power. I mean, the progressives in the party, and I know there has to be progressives in the party. They can't all be lunatics.
No.
They can't all be religious zealots. They can't all be crooked as a dog's hind leg. There are progressives in the party, and Doug seems to think, well, I'm the man in charge. No, Doug, not only do you have to answer to the taxpayers, but you have to answer to caucus. And if caucus says, not happening, you have to bend over and take it.
Well, and that's clearly what happened because I'm not sure if the video was great. It seemed to be a little fuzzy from my end. But if we continue and it clears up, Doug, and this is not to look shame, Doug looks a lot like Rob in this one. His face is rounder. He's quite pale. That could be slight directly. His eyes are very, very, very small. And Doug usually has pretty smooth skin, and he is as wrinkled as a baby Shar-Pei.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's looking stressed.
Like this, and you can tell the pace of his speech is
He's stressed.
He's halting, and he was ripped a new one.
Oh, definitely.
Was ripped a new one.
It's.
And then he goes.
So interesting statement here from Corinne Larrabee here. I'm going to put this on the screen. It's the PC caucus are in lockstep with Doug. Unfortunately, they have a history of voting with him en masse.
True.
I'm not going to disagree with that statement. I completely agree with you in this instance.
But so did
there were enough progressives within the party that said, "Oh, well, here,
yeah."
I don't know who the progressives are. I'm saying there has to be,
Yes. Well, there are the votes for party unity, right? There are the votes to show party union. There's what you discuss in caucus, and then there are the votes. I mean, the same thing could be said for the UCP and Jason Kenney before they threw him over the board, before they threw Papa from the train.
Well, I think it boils down to there were enough people within the party, even if they're not even progressive. There was enough people within the party that were going like, Doug, this is not good. We're on the Titanic, dude. We're on the Titanic, and it's going down fast. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking this is what it boils down to. And I'm sure that the MPPs throughout the province were getting enough people protesting, calling, emailing, writing letters to their constituency offices, the MPP's offices in each constituency. And I think they were overwhelmed with anger, perhaps a little bit of hatred.
Well, especially if they were going door to door.
And well, right. And I think it boils down to the people have spoken. This is an instance of the system is working the way it's meant to.
Mm-hmm.
We are not going to stand for this. We let them know, and he buckled over. He bent over backwards in this instance.
Well, we let him know, and he tried to push through anyway. Yeah. Right, because he was not going to tell us. We found out through a video. We let him know. He reversed himself immediately, then came back at it 4 to 5 years later. And then we let him know.
Mm-hmm.
And then he tried to run roughshod all over us. And then we let him know again. And then he backed over. And now he's saying, I'm going to restore the Greenbelt lands. I'm going to not touch the Greenbelt, but I'm still going to add the 9,000 or 7,400 acres that I was going to put in. So I'm going to actually expand it, which is touching the Greenbelt. But hey, he's going to add more, fine. And that review that the law says should happen, once every 10 years or something like that, is still happening under Paul Calandra, even though they're not going to touch the Greenbelt. And even though it's not 10 years, so it doesn't need to be done right now. Very confusing in that part. But with all of that, he really, really, really pinky swear with maple syrup on top means it this time that he won't touch the Greenbelt. He promises, even though he's shown
folks.
Even though he's shown us a couple of times that a Doug Ford promise isn't actually worth the breath expended making it. I mean, he also, I believe, promised that he would see the UBI pilot through. Did he not? And
Well, he canceled it when he got in
on the
5 years ago.
first day, I believe.
Yeah, the first day.
Am I not?
Yeah, he canceled that and ripped out the charging stations.
Yeah, I don't know if he promised not to do that. And then he did promise to put an iron ring, I believe you remind us often, Mr. Grizzly, around our
Yeah, the
scene.
iron ring is around the shareholders. Yeah, it's around the shareholders,
Yes.
not around the actual residents. It's around the shareholders of the long-term care homes, privately owned long-term care homes in the province of Ontario.
Yeah.
The iron ring is meant to protect the shareholders and the folks who are in upper management, so that they can't be sued for neglect or dereliction of duty or whatever have you. That iron ring is very, very real. He did put it around those homes, but it's not for the residents.
Yeah.
It's for the shareholders.
So we have, I will not put my hands all over the UBI pilot, and I will let it happen and see what it says. And he lied, so strike one. And then he promised the iron ring to protect our parents and grandparents. So what happened then would never happen again. And he lied, so strike two. And then he said he would not touch the green belt, and he basically dry humped it.
Oh yeah,
Strike three. You're out, buddy. You're out.
Yeah.
You're out. It was a mistake. No, it was not a mistake. It was a crime.
It was not a mistake. It was a crime.
It was a crime.
You did it intentionally.
Exactly.
You did it to again privatize the profit, socialize the losses. He's going to try and give the money back. We're not going to allow it.
Mhm.
Nope, sorry, you bought it. You own it. You can't develop it. Not my problem.
Yep.
Not my problem.
This was an intentional and concerted and planned effort involving several people in order to reach an objective that was at best unethical, at worst totally and fully criminal, probably the biggest financial crime committed by a Canadian government in Canadian history. One might even say what do you call it when you have an organized group of people all working together to try and reach an
Mob?
objective that might be criminal? A conspiracy?
Conspiracy, racketeering, you know.
This is the move. I made a mistake. He's going to try to do this, what he did with everything else, with the nursing homes,
Oh,
like
yeah.
this. I made a mistake. I had the best of intentions, as you said, right? As he's apologizing, he's still making the case for the 1.5 million homes. When you apologize, right? When you throw the baseball and you break the window, I'm sorry I broke the window, but I really was just trying to have fun, and you did tell me to go out and get more exercise. And
But you threw it at the window. No, I threw it in the general direction of. No, you threw it directly at the picture window in my
but I
living room.
never intended
I
to
was trying
break
to throw
the
it.
window. I just wanted to see what would happen if it touched the window. How was I supposed to
I'm
know
not
that
touching
a
you.
ball?
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm 1 inch
Is that-
away. I'm not touching
Could you
you.
not have known that the ball would break the window? I had no intention of breaking the
Mm,
window. I just wanted to see what would happen when the ball hit the window.
And again, for those who are not in the know, there is land set aside, not in the Greenbelt. Infrastructure's in place. It is ready to be developed right now. It's the size of Paris, France. A city of, I think, 14 million people within the city, not the metro area, the city proper. So he wants to build what, 500,000 homes, 50,000? I don't know, whatever it is. The thing is, the space is there to build for 14 million.
Yeah.
If they decided they could build it like Paris, you know.
Because we had a process that moved too fast. Yeah, that was by design. And that left too much room for certain people to be. Yeah, that was by design. And it led to people to question our motives. Yeah, think? You think? You think we were maybe right to question your motives? Seriously? Like, dude, come on. Come on. And then I'm doing this in order to earn your trust. Okay.
I'll be right back. I got to take care of something. I'll
All
be
right.
right back.
To earn your trust. Oh, poodle. That ship has sailed. I mean, I'm sure there's a certain number of elderly people or people, that have been to a couple of your Ford Fests things or that you've helped out when you were a counselor who will probably be loyal to you forever. But this one is really, really, really easy to explain to people. It's you can't earn the trust. This particular section has been going on for what, close to 2 months now? A month and a half? This particular revival of the thing, and all along, you've just been looking at the camera and going, but we need to build homes, and I'm just doing what I need to do to build homes for you and for your children and your grandchildren, because my heart bleeds, and nobody cares more about building homes than me, and that's why I'm on the phone 24/7.
It's just one tiny little thing that's been left out in this
Doing
conversation.
absolutely everything
that
I
Doug
can to
keeps
make
talking.
homes. I'm throwing absolutely everything I can at it. I will leave no stone unturned to build homes except
But
following the
Ontario's
law.
not building anything. But Ontario's not building anything. They're private developers, private for-profit developers that are trying to build on public lands. Ontario is not building a damn thing. Nothing. It's all private developers that are doing this,
All right.
not the province. So every time he says we're building, no, we're not, Doug. Stop lying. Unless you are in the pockets of those developers, and we know you are, you're not building anything.
All right.
The province is not building a damn thing.
Yep. Let's play the rest of his statement, Mr. Grizzly.
Just give me a second here.
Hey. So there was that much bullshit in just that amount of time.
Oh yeah. I'm starting right. It's 2 minutes and 29 seconds is how far we're into this 29 minutes.
He packs it in, doesn't he?
Oh, does he ever? Here we go.
Accepting the status quo will only make the housing affordability crisis worse. We need to build homes. We need to change the way we build these homes, building more density in growing cities close to transit. Using modular homes to make.
Wait a second.
Except he wasn't doing any of
There's
those
no
things.
transit belt. He was doing none of
Okay.
that.
Look, now he's
He was
flipping.
doing none of that.
He's flipping. I know. But he's campaigning as he's apologizing. It's like the brass ones on him, and he's making it look at the kids. The bullshit is neck high today. Keep going, Mr.
Oh yeah. Dude, hip waders won't cut it. You're gonna need a full wetsuit for the dry suit. You need a dry suit.
Make housing attainable, starter homes for young families and newcomers. Municipalities accountable to deliver on their commitments to build. Cutting through the red tape to speed up approvals. And I've heard from our municipal partners. They're ready to build. they have the land to do so. After the last few days, our caucus, this cabinet, we've never been more focused on delivering on the promises we made during the last election. Building the 413 and the Bradford bypass, building Highway 7 and widening Highway 3, building public transit.
Wait a sec. Building Highway 7? What is he talking about? Highway 7 exists. It's the Trans-Canada. Oh,
No,
Highway
that's
17? Yeah, I'm confused. Okay. Let's keep rolling.
Yeah.
Ontario Place, hospitals, and long-term care made during the last year. Building the 413 and the Bradford bypass. Building Highway 7 and widening Highway 3. Building public transit, Ontario Place, hospitals, and long-term care.
Ontario Place? He's turning that into a private for-profit spa. I'm very confused. Let's keep rolling.
Unlocking the economic potential of the Ring of Fire. Ensuring we have the clean energy to continue to bring back our manufacturing industry and the workers we need to fill those jobs. Some of these promises that require hard choices. When faced with making the tough decisions, we'll always choose to do what's right for the people of our province. As I've shown in the past, and as I'm showing you today, when I make a mistake, I'll fix them and I'll learn from them. Because that's what I promised I would do. And in the next election, you'll have the chance to decide how I've done.
Okay, stop it
there. To decide if I've kept my promises.
While apologizing for breaking a promise, never point to another promise you broke. Just a pro tip.
I'm not a PR guy, but come on, it's like it's not rocket surgery, man. Ricky could, with his grade 10, could figure this one out, going like that. That guy's an idiot. that guy's an idiot. Like. I can hear Bubbles right now. Holy fuck, boys, that guy's an idiot.
I live for this shit. I'm sorry.
Oh, I know.
Oh my God.
I know. He's just put it on. He's just on the like the mountain of bovine fecal matter. It just gets bigger every second he opens his mouth. He just can't stop, can he? He's out of control. He cannot stop himself. He can't help it.
Cannot stop. Once he pops,
it's like the corruption. Well, the corruption is so bad. It's that he just keeps doing more corrupt things as the speech goes on, and he's telling us the corrupt things he's going to do. I am like,
yep.
What? How far along are we in this? It's in 41 seconds.
Yes.
I've called in a rubber dinghy to get me out of the mountain of shit that I'm standing in. I'm in a boat. I'm in an ocean of bullshit right now. It's not hip waders. It's not a dry suit. I'm in a boat because I'm in the middle of the Pacific Ocean of bullshit.
Rose, get off the door and make some room.
Good God, man.
Let's keep going.
Oh boy. All right, hang on a second here. I gotta take my breath, get a cup of coffee, and try and get through this. Hang on, I'll fire it up. While this is playing, I'm going to grab a coffee. Oh boy, I just don't know, man. I just don't know.
If I got it done. Thank you. I'd be happy to questions.
Oh, God.
Reporters could please identify yourselves by name and outlet. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up.
Premier, it's Richard Southern from City News 680.
Oh, Richard.
Why caucus having to tell you what their constituents were feeling? Why did it take 2 legislative reports? It was clear from the get-go something wasn't right. You admitted that. Why did it take all this for you to reverse this?
Well, thanks for the question, Richard. When you're facing a crisis, no matter if it's a housing crisis or a crisis during the pandemic, and when they came to me and said, this will produce homes and roofs over people's heads for a minimum of 150,000 people, you'll have a hospital, you have long-term care, I felt we needed to move. I've come out here today to admit it was wrong. It was a wrong decision, and that we're putting this land back in the Greenbelt. We're going to continue to be focused 100% on every avenue to build homes for people of this province, young people that are looking to buy a home, the newcomers that are coming here that want to buy a home. That's not attainable at this point. We're going to continue building homes. Our target is the 1.5 million homes, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Premier is sorry enough. My question is, what consequences should you face for this mess up?
Oh! Well, Richard, you know, as the leader of this party, as the leader of this province, you know, I always say, not everyone's perfect. And leadership shows if you make a mistake, you come out and admit it. You tell the people what you're going to do to correct it and make sure that happens.
Okay, so let's stop it there.
And that's what I've done. That's what I've shown when I've made other mistakes.
Okay, you've noticed that he has not attempted to answer the question. He did not say why at all, why it took him so long, and he is not accepting any consequence.
Of course not.
Any consequence whatsoever. All right, let's keep going.
Okay, just give me a second. I'm still trying to catch my breath.
I know. I know. He's campaigning again.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Mistakes, and I'm the first to admit that. But every intention that I have, no matter if it's homes or anything else, is the right intention to help the people of Ontario in every aspect, no matter if it's the economy or if it's healthcare or education or building homes. You know, is always there for the right purposes.
Okay, let's stop it there.
Alan Benner, St. Catharines Standard. Just wondered if
this is two things that certain politicians who tend to be in trouble often do. My intentions were good. I just made a mistake. Right? It's like, no. No. And I'm not perfect. That's not an excuse because none of us are. We didn't elect you to be perfect. We elected you to govern us within the bounds of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't handle that.
Straightforward.
I'm not perfect. It's like, try that in court, buddy. Well, Your Honor, I mean, I know I got caught 2 kilometers away from the bank with $8.3 billion in my back of my minivan, but I'm not perfect, and I'm giving it back, and I've learned my lesson, and I promise not to do it again. Vote for me.
Cute.
Literally what he's doing.
I'll set you free. Yeah, it's a campaign.
All right. let's keep it going.
Just a second. I gotta cue it up again here. I'm having gremlin issues. Bear with me.
Targets for local municipalities will remain as far as building new homes are concerned. As far as new homes are concerned.
You know, always there for the right purposes.
Alan Benner, St. Catherine Standard. Just wondered if targets for local municipalities building new homes are concerned, and if they might be impacted by the elimination of the Greenbelt properties.
No, thank you for that question. The targets will remain the same. We want to work collaboratively with our municipalities. There's a lot of municipalities are really excited about
All right,
building
so we'll
more
stop that there.
homes. And there are a few municipalities.
So he's not going to change the targets. I just wanted that put in so that people would hear it for themselves. The next timestamp is around, actually not 9 minutes. Let's do 9:54 because I already mentioned what happens at 9. That's when Doug Ford says that the review of the Greenbelt will still happen under Paul Calandra. But at 9:54, there's around 9:54 another huge whopper. And delivered with a straight face. And now that the image is clearer, you can see how haggard he actually is, right? He looks like he looks like his wife has been making him sleep in the bathtub.
To build homes for the people of Ontario forward with the promises that we made to the people of Ontario in 2022. And we're going to make sure that we fulfill those promises in 4 years. In 2026, I should say, a choice to determine if I kept our promises and I got the job done.
Do you think, or are there any concerns you could face legal action from developers who are annoyed at this decision
well, I can't predict the future, but my main goal is to work with the builders because they're part of the solution. The community builders, as I call them, because they're the ones building the communities, and that's a decision that we've had to make. And I can't determine what the builders are going to do.
Hey, good afternoon, Premier.
I think I gave you the wrong timestamp because the question I can't remember what the question is, but he actually answered the question and said, "I don't get involved with any police investigation." You might want to try maybe 9:40 or something if you want to have people say it, and to have people see it. But I'm like listening to us,
We'll give it a go.
He's doing that little calm voice thing, and all of a sudden it's like, "What?"
Okay, give me a second here. I got multiple things on the go here. Hang on. Just trying to. I'm working at the same time, right? So bear with me for a moment while I take care of some business that keeps me fed and clothed and housed. And while I'm doing that, I can cue up this video because I am capable of doing more than one thing at a time. Actually, I can do some multitasking. I'm just not as great at it as others. But here we go. I've backed it up to 9:26. Okay. So let's see. This might be the thing you're looking for.
Premier Rob Ferguson, Toronto Star.
Yep.
Hi, Rob.
So, hi. You've reversed this decision after months and months and months, but you're still facing an RCMP investigation. They're sniffing around. I don't know if it's going to be a full-fledged investigation or not. So, are you hoping this move throws us off the scent? What's your expectation with that?
No, not.
Okay, that was one hell of a. Oh my goodness.
Boof.
I'm like, that is what I would have said were I there. I can't believe, and it's from the Toronto Star. I'm like, somebody's out to get Doug, and I'm here for it.
Not at all. I don't get involved in any police investigation. But we have a job to do. I'm going to continue moving forward to build homes for the people of Ontario, moving forward with the promises that we made
Blah,
to
blah,
the
blah,
people
blah,
of
blah,
Ontario
blah.
in
I
2022.
thought we cut you.
We're going to make sure that we fulfill those promises in 4 years. And 2026, I should say. A choice.
All right.
Did each? I kept our promises.
Mm. Okay. Now we get to around 10:58. Colin DeMello, with whom Doug has a very special relationship. Doug, when he answers Colin's questions, loves to refer to Colin by his name for some reason. Thank you for that question, Colin. Seems that maybe he was told based on his last little tango.
Well, who knows? Let's roll the tape, shall we?
Stag doe that you held in your backyard about a year ago. We learned some incredible details today that doe that.
And I can't determine what
what happened to
the
the
builders
question?
are going to do.
Hey, good afternoon, Premier Colin DeMello from Global News. I wanted to talk about the stag and doe that you held in your backyard about a year ago. We learned some incredible details today that Tony Miele, the head of the Ontario PC fundraising arm, sold tickets to a developer who purchased those tickets and, attended the stag and doe. Where did that money go, Premier? Did it go into your family's bank account?
Oh,
wow. Oh, I'm loving Colin DeMello this morning. Oh my goodness. That was a zinger. That was a grand slam 8-run home run. Like, wow. I can't believe he just said that. Colin is pissed. And good on him. Like, holy crap. He went right for the carotid there. I'm going to back that up because that was just a thing of beauty.
I told you I was bringing presents.
We got this. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and folks, they and them, anybody watching, listening, we're going to replay that because this is what you call nailing it. Listen to this. Pay attention. This is so good. I'm going to turn up the volume a bit for it. This is so good. Listen.
Turn it up.
Sold tickets
Bring the noise
to a developer who purchased those tickets and, attended stag and doe that.
And I can't determine what the builders are going to do.
Hey, good afternoon, Premier Colin DeMello from Global News. I wanted to talk about the stag and doe that you held in your backyard about a year ago. We learned some incredible details today that Tony Miele, the head of the Ontario PC fundraising arm, sold tickets to a purchased those tickets and, attended the stag and doe. Yeah. Where did that money go, Premier? Did it go into your family's bank account?
Well, Colin,
I'm just so flabbergasted. I love it. I love it. The fact he even wow. These are the questions that you and I have been saying. Why are they not? Why are they not? Why are they not? Why are they not? And they did it.
Yep. So
this is a gift.
It seems that we might have another resignation, and now we have a whole other thread to pull on, which brings back the stag and doe issue. Oh, thank you so much, Colin. Thank you. Yeah, PNC Bio gone so fucking good. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's
hear
hear the rest of this. This is just...
Now, again, Saucy, journalists need to take note and do more of this. The only objection that I have is when they ask a question, why did it take you so long? And he sidesteps it. They don't press him.
Oh, yeah. So they need it, but at least they're going down the right path now.
But I expect
they're going in the right direction.
I expected this being as soon as he finishes talking, 4 or 5 journalists, why, picking one, right? They are very, very different. That's not what I would have done as the journalist pool there. But the questions
everybody should have jumped on that question. Yeah, they should. Everybody should have jumped on that for a follow up. Wait a second, you didn't answer the question, basically, right?
All right, keep it going.
Okay, let's let's keep going. Just a second here. This is like Christmas morning.
I told you.
It's Christmas morning, Canada Day, Hanukkah, a birthday, Rosh Hashanah,
Kwanzaa,
it's
Diwali,
all of them.
Yep.
All of it in one day.
I told you I was bringing presents.
It's Purim. My goodness, this is just. I got to back it up just a couple of seconds here. Hang on, just so we can get the absolute very best of it. Okay, we'll start over. Okay, one more time with gusto.
Where did that money go, Premier? Did it go into your family's bank account?
Well, Colin, first of all, the commissioner cleared me 100% today. Tony, a friend of the family for many, many years.
Did they really?
And
whoa, wait.
You know, he did it on his own accord.
Tony's been a friend of the family for many years. They were friends, but in the last press conference, they absolutely were not friends. Now they're friends again.
Yeah.
I think there was some kissing and making up since the last press conference, because now Tony's a friend.
Somebody got to reach around, I think. Maybe.
It's amazing how they're friends on some occasions and absolutely not friends on others. Dougie's a rather fair weather friend, isn't he? He claims you when it's convenient and denies you when it's convenient. With friends like Dougie. Goes to character, kids. Keep it rolling. There's more. In this one answer, there's more.
Okay. All right. I'll just let's just watch.
And he cleared me 100%, and it was a stag, not a stag and doe, but here nor there.
Yeah, on what kind of a party it was, Premier, but help us understand.
Stag and doe. Thanks for the clarification. Okay.
What kind of party it was, Premier? Now back to my question.
How should Ontarians trust you when you are hosting developers in your backyard? Developers pay money to have access to backyard, and the money goes to your family. This is developers to the party to your family.
Well,
is that not corruption?
Well, first of all, Colin, thank you for that question. I've never taken a penny from absolutely anyone.
Okay, that was the tip. That was a very good question. I appreciate that question.
Stalling for time. But he's very, very polite to call in all of a sudden, isn't he?
Yeah, interesting how that works. Okay.
I've never taken a penny from anyone.
Even expensed. A hamburger or a chocolate bar, nothing ever in my own pocket. And as for if people want to talk to me, they can show up to Ford Fest. Thousands of people. No one can influence me. Simple as that.
Hi, Premier.
I'm sorry. Somebody get
Did you hear that?
Somebody get the fire hose because his pants are on fire. Somebody get the hose. His pants are on fire. Like, good God, man! I've never taken anything from anybody at any time. Not even a chocolate bar or a cup of coffee. Oh, come on, Doug.
Well, I can understand.
Shit.
But I mean, I can believe that from Doug Ford. Like, you know, that person that like bought. I remember a couple of years, many years ago, and I think it was under Chris, that bought like a pack of Lifesavers or Breath Mints and whatnot and expensed it. Right. So I can understand Doug Ford doesn't expense a chocolate bar or coffee. It's like, okay, I can get that. That's kind of on brand for him. But I've never taken a cent for anyone. And the last
we know that's
one,
not true.
no one can influence me?
I got to back that up a few seconds.
Are we in
because
the same freaking galaxy?
Gift that just keeps on giving. I don't even know what to say.
He's so bad at
It's
this.
the gift that keeps on giving. It's wow. Like wow. Okay, let's go back to the tape. Here we go.
Out of my own pocket, you know. And as for if people want to talk to me, they can show up to Ford Fest. Thousands of people do, but no one can influence me. Simple as that.
Hi, Premier. William Belfrington from the Canadian Press. Rashid can clear his name through the Integrity Commissioner. He'll have an opportunity to return to caucus.
Well, again, offered his resume, the cabinet and the party. I understand there's something that he's dealing with the, but I'm sure he'll sit down with the Integrity Commissioner and.
I don't hear a reason.
Sorry, what was that?
I don't hear a reason.
Oh, sorry.
He was asked for what reason. What reason does he think that Mr. Rashid would need to clear his name? I'm not hearing a reason.
Yeah.
And did you catch the no one can influence me?
If he does clear his name in our caucus here.
But Premier, what is the allegation that you were troubled by specifically?
Again, Cleed came to me and felt there was a distraction out there regarding himself, and he offered his resignation, and I accepted it.
Hi, Premier Cynthia Mulligan from City. Ask you, what happened that this has gone? How did this happen? You've lost 2 ministers, a chief controversy.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, like I've said before, Cynthia, you know, here earlier on and said the process was not up to par.
But how did that happen? How was the process not up to par?
I'll answer it if you give me a second here.
Okay, now
I said
you can stop it there.
Auditor General's report came out.
Because he doesn't answer it. He wasn't answering the question that, yeah, but how did that happen? And that's the question we asked way back that the journalist did not ask at that first press conference. Says, you know, this process was wrong. It was like this, but how did it get wrong? No, she asked. She asked. He says, yeah, I'll get to that. I'm saying my pap and I'll get to that. And he finished his pap. Never got to that. Nobody followed up.
You know,
nobody followed up there.
Can't have everything. We can't have everything. Where would you put it, right?
He continues on, said, I've around 1720 and that whole thing, claims that he's always told the truth. He literally says, I've always told the truth, quote, saying that repeating that the Integrity Commissioner cleared him. Not sure that's true. Saying that the Auditor General cleared him. That is definitely not true. The Auditor General said that there wasn't an evidence of this. But of course, the Doug Ford thing is that once all this was set up, he never looked at it, never saw it, never had a conversation with anyone, never. So of course there would be no evidence. All the evidence would happen before the chief of staff to the housing minister was named. Once that happened, dumbass Dougie Donuts was nowhere to be seen. So of course there's nothing in the reports. He was not cleared. We are convinced that the premier did nothing wrong, or that this was all at a lower level and did not involve the premier's office is one thing. We're not able to substantiate whether or not. It's an entire, that's not clearing. That's not clearing. Then when we get to about 1858 in this thing, and this thing's only about 29 minutes, all of a sudden,
29 minutes.
yeah, he how would I put it? He knows he's not going to be pressed, that the questions are going to contain some incendiary language, or that type of thing, or some tough language, but that he's not going to be pressed. So he starts speaking with more confidence and speed. And as this press conference goes on, he moves from apology to like literally full, almost campaign mode, as in like attacking other people, making accusations, and makes some incredible statements like, "I expect everyone to follow the rules. When you're in there because you established a process by design and on purpose that had no rules." With a chief of staff that said, "Oh, all these environmental rules, yeah, just disregard those. All these zoning rules, just disregard those too. I expect everyone to follow rules." And I think that I've shown that. I'm just, wow. Let's go to let's go to 1858, because I think people need to see this one.
Okay, I'm a little prior, a little before that, but here,
Okay, well, make it a little bit.
we'll
Make
give
it
this a
like
go.
1850, because the timestamps seem to be a little different on this one.
Yeah, just give me a second here till there we go. 1850. Let's have a look at this now, shall we? Let's hear what Douglas has to say.
Election. We're going to continue fulfilling those promises.
Back a bit more.
Say, I'm not perfect. No government's perfect. But we're working hard to do and fulfill the commitments that we in the 2020 election. Continue fulfilling those promises.
Hi, Premier Siobhan Moore TV. How are you expecting people to put any weight into the renewed promise you've made to touch the Greenbelt, considering not only you've broken that promise one time, but you really dug in on that for many, many months, despite publicly people saying this was a bad idea?
Well, first of all, like I am today, admitted I made a mistake. That mistake. We're going to have to continue moving forward, putting, as I said, people will have a choice. We live in a democracy. They're going to do, did we keep our promises? Did we build hospitals? Did we build hundreds of thousands of homes? Are we on target to do that? Have we kept our promise? And they're going to ask themselves, is this province in better shape in 2026 was when we ran in 2018? And I can tell you, Siobhan, this province is in a little better shape. It's in 1,000 times better shape of Ontario on every single.
No, it is not. That is the biggest goddamn lie he said today.
Yeah, and there's a Trump moment, right?
Every single minute.
I'm the best, and everything's the best under me. Nothing's ever been better ever.
2018, and we're going to keep moving forward on our mandate, and the people will hold us.
I'm wondering what you felt personally or thought personally when you were Mr. Rashid and the massages in Vegas with people, somebody at the time, and a divorce as well.
Yeah, well, I first of all read it in the paper. To be very frank with you, got advised everyone to follow the rules. People I think have demonstrated if you don't follow the rules, I don't want you part of the government. I want even the dealing with government. There's that are made for a reason. Follow the rules. It's as simple as that.
Premier Laura Stone, Globe and
Okay, are you fucking kidding me right now?
You've called
Okay,
the
you can stop
Greenbelt a scam. You've drawn up essentially with dark chalkboard. It's a field of weeds.
Mr. Grizzly can't stop the tape because he's laughing so hard.
Just
I, right? The goddamn audacity.
so here's
The
a quote.
sheer.
There's a quote I got to read to
Heard-
you. I got to read this quote to you right now. You got to hear this because this is like the biggest. We're building affordable homes for people who need homes and people, first time home buyers. And some of the major developments in this plan would have seen as high as 26% affordable housing. Now, none of that will be built. Does the NDP feel proud about that? Wait a minute, 26%? That's it? I thought you said you were building affordable homes, Doug. If you're going to build affordable homes, build them for everybody. Oh, and $500,000? That's not affordable. A $500,000, 1,600 square foot, fully finished basement with a front backyard and paved driveway. $500,000 is not affordable to the vast majority of people in this province.
Right.
The overwhelming majority of the people in this province cannot afford to buy a $500,000 home unless you have wealth that's been handed down to you, or your parents or grandparents have remortgaged their home to give you the down payment, because 20% down on $500,000, that's $100,000. Who has $100,000 to put as a down payment?
Yep.
It's
Exactly.
just,
So, but it's like, just, I think I've shown, and you need to follow the rules, and it's easy. Follow the rules. The reason you're all there is because the reason you are there, the whole reason you are there is because you established an entire process that was external to the process that already existed, which did not follow the rules and cast all rules aside. I think I have demonstrated that. No, you have not. You have absolutely not. That's why I keep on referring to this guy as that fucker Doug Ford. Just so infuriating. But all of that was delivered in that, almost pulled off of Mike Pence. Well,
almost.
Kathleen, that's like, made it sound reasonable and calm, and some people are going to be fooled by this. Oh well, no, he
Oh,
really
of course
means
they
it. He really looks like he said. But just, this is extremely well crafted
Oh, yeah.
bullshit. Bullshit, nonetheless.
Yeah, it is.
But bullshit. And of course, pulling at the Danielle Smith, talking about moving forward, moving on. As Scott Reed calls it, let's just move straight past the penance and into absolution.
Let's not even get started with Daniel Smith and how they deserve 54% of CPP.
Oh God, yeah, we're not touching that one today.
Yeah. No,
because, well, actually, you know what? Let's do that.
There's only so much rage.
Okay, but let's
Yeah.
do
Okay.
22. No. But once at 22, 26, because that was the one question that a journalist asked that had nothing to do. And I was sitting there, was like, bad journalist, bad journalist. But since, I like this answer because, well, I live for the awkward moment, and I love it when
Yes.
somebody says something that makes me think, fight, 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 fight. So let's try that.
All
Think
right,
about
let's,
2220, about somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'm right around there. Okay, let's give it a go. Here we are. Let's see.
9,400 acres larger than when I took office in 2008.
Okay, so you've built now. On another topic of national interest, Alberta has come out today and said they're looking into GEP, and they believe they're entitled to half of the funds in that. Do you think of Alberta's proposal, and do you think that fair to your province that they'd be entitled to half of that money?
Well, I haven't had to sit down and talk to the Premier of Alberta. I definitely, the way I look at it, Ontario is the engine of Canada. Ontario's other provinces and territories, we always believe in being the largest province, and other provinces may be struggling. Provinces, we're there for them. We've always been there as well. So, we live in a country that everyone shares responsibilities, and we always believe in making sure that we're a leader in the country on all fronts, and we'll be there to always support my colleagues and other provinces and territories.
I believe that is. You stop it there.
You mentioned that in the Greenbelt, everything's going back in. What?
I believe that is polite conservative speak for, oh, it's on. Hold my earrings.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're the economic. Oh, yeah. Please fight about who's the bigger economic engine to Canada for all the kids to see. Please.
It's true.
Please.
Though. It's Trudeau. It's Trudeau.
It's true though. Yeah, that's fine. It's true though. Yeah. Come on. Fight. All right. So anyway, then he finishes it off with a whole end statement that is just campaigning again, and starts moving.
Oh,
to
so we'll skip that. I don't need to.
Yeah, we could
I
let's
need to
talk
see
about
that.
municipalities had better and blah, 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 starting attacking again. But by the end, he got so confident that his pace of speech picked up, the shaking in his voice disappeared, and he felt that he could start attacking. And that's why I'm saying the journalists needed to be a little more aggressive with the speed and the forcing him. Like, 'cause the questions themselves were cutting. I guess, but there needed to be a little more of that pack thing, type thing, to keep him a little more destabilized, because he knew he could try that, especially at the end. Right. So, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Grizzly.
Well, I'm just what he just said, what Danielle Smith is trying to pull off. We've got Take Back Alberta with David Parker and their Wexit.
Yep.
Which is freaking hilarious because it's Treaty 6 territory, which means they will get nothing. Nothing. You have to go to the Crown. You have to rewrite the Canadian Constitution. I'm sorry, Alberta. You want to leave, you have to physically leave. Geographically get up and move somewhere else, because you cannot secede from Canada because it's Treaty 6 territory.
Right.
It's all Indigenous lands. You don't like it? Well, too bad. It's constitutionally speaking, it ain't yours. It's not yours to take away. So where do you think you're going to go? Number one. Number two, do you honestly believe for a split second that the rest of Canada is going to let 54% of the CPP go to a province that's only, not even 5 million people? Ontario is just under 16 million. Do you really think and I love how it's an Alberta government decided that that's what they felt they deserved.
Of course.
Not a federal government thing. It's the Alberta government decided. A study released says Alberta deserves 54%, written by the UCP, the governing party in the province of Alberta. Like, what? Somebody tell Danielle to stop drinking the bong water, because that is not a wise decision. It's not a wise statement. Do you really think a single person in this country would accept that for a split second?
No, not at all. All right, but we don't have time for that.
Mr. Cal just says something here, though. Alberta's 10% of the Canadian population, but they deserve 5 times the CPC. 54% is what they said.
Yep.
They're 10%, but they want 54.
Yeah.
Hey, Danielle Smith.
She's just shit disturbing. But that feeds into the myth, right, that Canada would die without Alberta, right? That they've been selling their people like for the last 50 years. So
it's horse shit. We know it.
Yeah. All right. Manitoba, we won't have as much time to dedicate it as I would like, but the debate happened yesterday. And I have to say that as debates go, it was actually bearable. Content wise, there was some stuff, a lot of not answering questions directly, but it was pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. We have to take that into context. I'm placing that in the context of debates that we've seen recently, which haven't been all that great. But yeah, it was a pretty. It was rather informative, I have to say. Um, Polls have been showing that the NDP in Manitoba is leading with about 12 days to go before we vote. Um, the NDP had been leading in the polls for about 3 years prior, and then closer to the election date, the polls sort of evened out. But there are two polls, Angus Reid and a new group called Probe, I believe, that are showing that the NDP has a sizable enough lead. Not so much that it's in the bag, but a sizable enough lead, and that it seems to be growing. Um, and that if we're looking at Winnipeg proper, where most of the seats are, and where the NDP is probably able to sweep, save maybe one or two seats that would go to the Liberals, that one of the two polls indicates that they're leading by 20 points in Winnipeg, and the other two indicates that they're leading by 30 in Winnipeg. Overall, it seems that the NDP is coming in with the latest one from Probe at 49% in terms of vote intentions, whereas I think the Conservatives came in at 38. But according to 338.com, which is the aggregator, it's showing the NDP with like a 46 to 42 lead, about a 4-point lead. Wab Canoe has this great line that he's been using for a while. It goes, "How do you do? I'm Wab Canoe," which is brilliant. And he opened the debate with that. There were some interesting things that happened. In the debate, the leaders had an opportunity at 3 occasions to ask a question of another of the one of the leaders. Heather Stephenson, you would think, would have directed all of her questions to Wab Canoe, but she directed her first one to him, and then the other two, she did this thing, which people are calling strategic, and I guess it is. But if I was watching at home, I'd consider it completely douchey, and it would be a turnoff. Is that she would do the whole preamble to the question, attacking Mr. Canoe, and then turn to the Liberal leader and say, "What do you think about that?" So instead of giving Canoe a chance to respond, she'd give the floor to the other leader who would then jump in. And for some reason, I still don't know what the deal is between liberals and the New Democrats, but they keep on fighting each other more than the other guy, because the leader of the Liberal Party, Doug Lamont, his 3 questions, he directed them all at Wab Canoe, and he spent the entire night trying to take down Wab Canoe. Now, I understand that going into the debate, the person who's leading in the polls, if it's not the incumbent, becomes the target of the debate. But again, seriously, I don't like it when it's the other way around, when the Liberals are in the lead and the NDP does it. It's like, the problem here is Heather Stephenson, Mr. Lamont. I understand that you're fighting for your share of the progressive vote, so you have to make your case to differentiate yourself with Mr. Canoe. But you can still spend one moment in the debate holding the current government accountable. So I'm tired of this thing where the progressive faction keeps on fighting each other to be the number one progressive choice in the mind of progressive voters, rather than making the case that conservatives don't deserve to be or opposition. Like, come on, man. What is this? Lamont.
This statement here from Cassie Lake, the vote split between the Liberals and NDP is how the PCs were successful last time. Same thing in Ontario.
Yeah, same thing. Now, Lamont is hoping that it would be an NDP minority, like this, and that he would hold the balance of power. So it was just really interesting, and it was really interesting. Doug Lamont sounded much more like a traditional NDP. He was talking about like gifts to billionaires and all that kind of stuff, and it was really weird. Now, Wap Canoe, because he's indigenous, you would think, um, would be speaking a lot about those issues, and in a manner that's very statesmanlike. He avoided them almost like the plague. In fact, Heather Stephenson had a really weird flex. Her first question to Wab Canoe, when she got to ask a question, she broached the Prairie Green landfill issue and tried to turn it on Canoe, saying the report says that doing so would cause some risk to the people who would be doing the search, and there's no guarantee we can find a body. Well, every time you have a search, Premier Stephenson, there's no guarantee you're going to find something. The fact that there's no guarantee you're going to find something doesn't mean you don't search. That's just dumb. Okay. So,
oh yeah.
She says, "Oh well, if we had a guarantee we'd find something, then we'd do it." Really? Would you? Would you? Would you really? Would you? Okay. So, but she's trying to frame it as Mr. Canoe trying to put the people who would do the searches' health in danger. Okay. And the irony is that Dougal Lamont, the leader of the Liberals, actually made the more impassioned case for reconciliation and Indigenous rights out of all of the three. Now, I can understand strategically that Mr. Canoe maybe does not want to do this. He might have been advised strategically that given that the Indigenous population is only a small percentage and talking a lot about those issues might turn other people off. So he's avoiding it. There's also the issue of Mr. Canoe seeming to not want, he really had a happy warrior vibe going on like this. And because of the things that are in his past, I'm sure he received some advice to try not to appear aggressive or angry, which he didn't. So he, and in fact, on many occasions, he appeared quite statesmanlike. Heather Stephenson was a bit of a mess, I have to say. Dougal Lamont had a little bit of a Bernie Sanders quality to him. But Heather Stephenson, there were moments she was strong on the economic portion. She had the better part of the debate because Mr. Canoe didn't seem to be able to expand much. But there were a lot of times that her body language, she was shifty and all over the place, not particularly organized in her thoughts. And there were several times you could see with her body language and facial expressions that Mr. Canoe had landed a few things. It's a couple, that Charlie Brown look where there were a couple of those, which betray a lot. So like if you were watching it with the sound off, there were moments where she was looking very authoritative, and there were other moments where she was looking like, ooh. There were about 3 sections. The first section was health, and polling has indicated in Manitoba that health really is the runaway number 1 issue. And Mr. Canoe landed some good ones. Heather Stephenson landed some on the economy. And then the third one, interestingly enough, the third subject was crime and public safety. And that was actually the most interesting segment of the night, which was really interesting. And I wish I could show it to
Catch
you
any
for
of it.
some reason. Okay. Darn. All the timestamps.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Well, yes, but I wanted to show the particular thing, the section on crime, because everybody had performed really well. There were, however, and if you had the ear to the dog whistle, some low blows. A couple of low blows from the Conservatives to Mr. Canoe. There were some references to his past ability to be honest, and just gently slipped into an answer that if you didn't know the backstory,
Mhm.
right? Um, but it was it was not a good look. It was it was not a good look if you know because when someone has had a past
I did. Yeah.
like this, but they rehabilitate
Everybody does.
themselves. Yes, but they rehabilitate themselves. All right, and they've shown
Mhm.
for a very long time, consistently over time, that this
Mhm.
change is sincere and that this change is holding.
That the
There
leopard
comes a
has
period.
changed its spots.
Yes, there comes a period of time where forgiveness means you stop holding it over someone's head. This is what happened with Prime Minister Trudeau with the blackface thing. There's a reason for which the black community is not making a big deal of it. And again, I tell you, white conservatives, you are not allowed to be more upset still about blackface than black people are.
Yeah, because we know it's bullshit.
Right.
We know that's.
But the
We
thing
know
is,
that the people who throw that up each time are the first ones that would have been doing blackface.
and they're sharing the pictures of the conservatives doing blackface.
Yeah, and I don't like that
That's
either.
on the left either. So it's
Yeah, no.
like this. You share the images, you know the images are hurtful. But the thing with Prime Minister Trudeau is that he did it, and when he got into politics, it had been a long time since he had done it.
Mhm.
And when he was asked about it, he said, "Yup, I did it.
Yeah.
It was wrong. I'm sorry, and I learned from it, and I haven't done it again." And it is true. And in all his dealings that we've seen him in public, he has been kind and thoughtful and generous and inclusive of all minorities.
Yeah. Look, I have
And
issues with the
you
Prime
you can
Minister,
fake
right?
that for 6 months. You can fake that for you. You can't fake it for 8, 9, 10 without slipping.
No. That's the thing. Like I said, I have issues with some of his policies and some of the things he's done and some of the things he's not done. But when it comes to this, lockstep, because he has been kind and inclusive with every minority group. And whether I don't like to say minority group, but truth is truth, right? I realize
Underrepresented group or whatever.
this right here, this represents the majority in this country. For how long, I don't know. Oh, for the people listening, I'm pointing at my white face, my white cis het face. We are the majority, like it or not. It's not going to always be that way. It is going to change. I remember watching a Russell Peters stand-up show once, and he says, in 100 years, most of y'all are going to look like me. And I kind of chuckled and thought, yeah, he's right. And I don't care. like, I think if we all looked a little bit more alike, maybe we'd have a little bit less hate for one another, but that's just speculation. But, variety is the spice of life. So at the same token, if we're all homogenized, is that good? You know what I'm saying? A monoculture a monoculture is boring as shit, right? Like, let's just have my white bread Kraft single sandwich with some mayonnaise on it.
So no, don't reverse stereotype yourself.
Well, no, but
vanilla is a flavor too.
But I've eaten that on more than one occasion.
Oh yeah.
Then I started making cheese sandwiches a little bit differently. And then I started making grilled cheese sandwiches a little bit differently. Instead of using butter, I would put olive oil mayonnaise because it adds some flavor, and mayonnaise is mostly oil anyway. It's whipped oil, right? So mayonnaise, and then I'll put Gruyere, a slice of Gruyere and a slice of Havarti. So double it up, and then some Dijon mustard. And that's the grilled cheese. So I went from mayo, processed cheese, white bread, to 7-grain rye bread with mayo, fried with 2 different types of cheese, and some Dijon mustard. So what I'm saying is variety is the spice of life from a food standpoint. Now I'm hungry. Anybody else hungry? I want a grilled cheese sandwich now. Sorry, I went on a tangent there that was right out of left center. But you get what I'm saying, though. It's like a monoculture is boring. Variety is the spice of life. But Russell Peters, I think, is largely right in that 100 years from now, most of us are going to look more like him than we do like me.
Yeah. So coming back, because the reason I'm mentioning blackface is in relation to Mr. Canoe, is he's owned his past. He's shown over a substantial period of time that, like Patrick Brazeau, right, that he's a different person today. He has made some changes into his life, and the changes have stuck. He knows better. He's doing better.
Exactly.
He's been on the public scene for a certain amount of time. His behavior has been consistent.
More than 20 years, I think.
Yes. And you don't hit 49% in the polls.
No.
If people haven't moved on from that. So the people have moved on, and she keeps raising it up.
Which is dirty pool, dirty politics, and bullshit. Because come on, look.
But there's no return on investment other than solidifying your own base. When the indication is clear that the people have moved on, there is nobody in Canada that is moved or that is more convinced every time a conservative points out Trudeau blackface today than yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It affects nothing. It changes it. All it does is entrench people in their position. Because when you have 49% in the polls, you're going into the debate and the poll numbers come out that day and says, like the latest poll says, this party's got 49% support. Maybe don't go for the low blow on someone's past when people have already, that's baked in and people have accepted it and have forgiven. It's just a bad look. And in this case, it looks just a little bit racist-y.
Well, whenever somebody brings up, I'll be in a discussion online in some social media milieu, and somebody will bring up, well, Trudeau blackface, and I'm like, and Scott Moe killed a woman while drunk. What card are you playing here?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
no, but exactly, this is what I mean. So, you vote for people on who they are today.
Yeah.
Who they are today and who they've shown themselves to be consistently over time. If you've shown yourself to be a liar and a cheat and a weaselly little guy over time, then that's what you should vote. No matter what they say, that's what you should vote based on.
And I think largely the reason Doug Ford got elected in the last election, the reason his party was elected, because we don't vote for premier like we don't vote for prime minister, and technically speaking, he's the prime minister of Ontario, right?
Yep.
We call him the premier, but he's the prime minister of Ontario. And the reason he got elected was largely due to the fact that low voter turnout, no question, but also polls and the majority of the conservative-owned base of newspapers in this country supported him and said, he's going to win. He's going to win. The remake of Doug Ford, he's going to win. And when you have polls saying he's going to win, people are like, well, my vote won't count, so why bother? Which is why I'm going to go back to and beat that same dead horse. No polls released to the public within 6 months of an election. Once the writ is dropped, at a minimum, once the writ is dropped, but I'd like to see it 6 months. And in Ontario, provincially speaking, the elections are usually every 4 years, pretty much clockwork. Federally, it can change, but in the province of Ontario, it's every 4 years. So we know it's going to come up. So before the writ is dropped, well, it's okay, 6 months out from this effective date. That's it. No more public polls. None. Zero. It's what got him elected. It is.
Yep. Now, but talking about Manitoba, Mr. Healthcare seems to be the big issue, and the main point of contention around the debate, where Canoe was landing a lot of punches, was in the fact that Stephenson, and maybe not her specifically, but the government, the PC government, closed a lot of emergency rooms, like a lot. And he had this great line that driving further doesn't mean you'll get seen quicker. So he's promising the central plank here seems to be able to staff in order to reopen emergency rooms, and I think he wants 3 of them open in the province, I guess, in 3 different locations. Winnipeg, of course, and then the other 2, I couldn't remember the names of the towns or the cities. I'm sorry, and maybe Kit Cassie, who's here, can remind us on that. So that was a main part of the debate. Of course, the Conservatives are offering a whole bunch of tax cuts yet again. The NDP is offering to freeze electricity rates and to offer temporary, I think, 14 cents a liter provincial gas tax cut on affordability measures, but there doesn't seem to be much more than that on the NDP side, which is why they were a little weaker in the economic segment. Cassie says all in Winnipeg, closed 3 out of 6 in Winnipeg. Oh, there you go. So, I would assume that Manitobans are not much different than Albertans in the sense that we keep on hearing from Janet Brown polling in Alberta that it's not that Albertans are more economically conservative than other people, because as soon as you talk about, affecting their healthcare or their education and whatnot, no, they like those social services. They're just somewhat, for some reason, much more allergic to paying taxes than we are. So, whereas we moan and groan, they get hives. But you can't want all the services and want to pay no taxes. It doesn't work that way. So it seems that both parties, and as Kit Cassie says, I'm not sure how either party is going to afford or deliver on the promises. That seemed to be a major issue of the debate, which was brought up by Dougall Lamont specifically, because, and again, very NDP-ish, Dougall Lamont is the only one of the 3 that has a fully costed platform that is out, and he put it out on day 2, and where's yours, guys? So I have to say, overall, it was a good debate. There was some sidestepping of questions, and there was some really, really good, like I said, if you like some good back and forth where it's like, the leader looks like they're making a point. Oh, she just landed one, and then somebody says something, boom, and just like flaps it back. So there were a couple of times during the debate where I went, oh. I remember, like, near the end, I think, Heather Stephenson kept on accusing Wab Kinew of voting against all the criminal reform stuff. And Wab Kinew said the first time, well, that's because I didn't vote against your criminal reform stuff in the budget like this. I voted against your healthcare stuff. The criminal stuff was just in it. And then she came back with that again. And, he turned around and said, it's like you designed all those laws as omnibus laws where you put that healthcare stuff that that we can't vote for in. So yes, we didn't vote for it. And then near the end, she comes back with it yet again. And I was half expecting, like, beep, I told you twice already that I did not vote it because you put the healthcare stuff in it. And he handled it. Again, I think that's when he mentioned that these bills were omnibus bills like this, and brushed it aside, but very, very, very deftly. But I was like, come on, let her have it. Let her have it. She's clearly taking the words out of your mouth and replacing them with the words she needs to be in them. It's like, tell her. And fortunately, he didn't that time, but there was a lot of those things, it's just turned around. Well, that's because you did this, boom, and smacked. Oh, wow. Okay. So as debates go, I have to say, it was good. There wasn't a lot of yelling. There wasn't a lot of screaming. People were respectful. Some of the analysts made the comment that last time they had debated, Wab Kinew was interrupting a lot, which made him appear aggressive. So he almost never jumped over everyone in the answer and just stayed calm.
Good.
But
because I hate it when they do that.
Yeah.
And I hate it when they do that.
So it was quite orderly.
You know the rules.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, it was orderly. The moderation was good. The questions from the journalists were good. Like I said, there was some actual cut and thrust, some parry and thrust between there that to watch like a debate was. And there was some content. There was a lot of convenient sidestepping and not answering of questions, of course. But overall, it was decent. I have to say that if people watched it, you were able to get something from it. You were able to see from body language how confident people were. I'm not going to say that Mr. Canoe has this in the bag. There were no knockout punches, clearly. But Mr. Canoe performed very, very, very well. And I would say objectively performed best, even though Heather Stephenson did win the economic section of the debate. Dougal Lamont, all three of them were best in the crime section, crime and public safety section. And it was near the end of the debate, so I guess maybe they were warmed up.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. Again, I didn't have time to view it, so I don't know.
Yeah, Dougal Lamont's not really going anywhere. But he didn't. He did his party proud, and if this actually was a 3-person race, I'm thinking that he would have something to offer. Heather Stephenson, I know I'm predisposed to not liking her, and particularly, and also like the whole trans kids thing didn't get much of a mention. She mentioned it one brief in passing in the opening statement. She said parental rights, and it wasn't an issue in the debate as well. So I wanted to mention that. But she was the one, if the volume was off, who looked a little more like she was looking another place and sometimes uncomfortable and shifting. And so if people are looking at the non-words part of the message, she was the least strong of the three. All right, kids and cubs, I believe we have a show, don't we, Mr. Grizzly?
We do. I have one quick announcement here.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw this on the screen It's real quick. This just came across my feed, so I thought I'd put it up. A joint address to Parliament is a speech made by a distinguished visitor. The distinguished visitor today will be Volodymyr Zelensky.
Yes.
He is addressing Parliament
Yes,
today.
yes.
So I thought I'd make that announcement.
Thank you for doing that, because I'd forgotten that. I had so much more for you today, kids. So much more. So it's almost like I could
There's
do a
only
weekend.
there's a time
Yeah,
limit. There's a
I
time
know.
limit.
It's almost like I could do a weekend special. Trust me, I have enough for like 2 or 3 more hours with debates and the grocery thing and Tasha Carradine once again. Oof.
Well,
I had to tear a strip off her yesterday.
Don't forget tomorrow, folks, at 1 p.m. live from Lieutenant's Pump.
Yes.
Pubcast.
The Pubcast. So please join us. All right. You know all the things. Democracy is something that you do. Make sure you can vote. Donate to the Red Cross if you can. If you want to subscribe, the pod page, sponsored by the Ray Girl, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. The other squiggly is our coffee page, coffee, ko-fi.com/Eager Beaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And that's where you can make your donation to the Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund so that we can remain humected, moist, and lubricated for you. Yes, because we like things that come in threes. All right. Also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you so very much for that. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying that it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and very, very, very gentle with yourselves. And have a wonderful weekend. Do something nice for yourselves today. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom, please?
Pull up your socks, tighten your shoes, get ready, because we're going to run a race. And in this race, we're going to take down the Ford government.
All right. And I see Kit Cassie, thanks for giving a little left to Manitoba politics today with your Ontario coverage. We were debating which one we were going to do first, Kit Cassie, but I will get those timestamps and show some of those clips to you on Monday's show. All right. So
Tuesday.
Tuesday's show. Yes, because Monday's going to be
Monday. It'll be pre-recorded, yeah. So it'll be Tuesday's show. Monday is pre-recorded because I have stuff on.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you a show. We're going to give you a show, and it's going to be a good one on Monday.
Yeah.
You're going to appreciate this.
Okay. All right, kids. Mr. Grizzly, please roll them credits. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, The Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum. And The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. All right. Oops, there we go. For some reason, I had frozen for a second. All right, kids. Have an absolute wonderful weekend. Like I said, do something nice for yourselves. I don't really have much planned as a surprise at the end of the show, so I'm just going to send you off with lots of love and good energy. All right?
I have this.
Oh, good.
I have
Glad you
this.
have something.
Oh,
Oh,
it's not playing. It's not.
My baby.
You're what?
I'm your baby.
You're my baby?
Yes. My baby.
You're what?
My baby.
oh
I thought that was
my God,
adorable.
you're a cute little kitten.
All right, I'll
kids,
see you. I gotta go. I got a meeting.
be fabulous.